Hello, welcome to the Historical Boxing Society podcast. This is Great Ring Battles, and this, of course, is the newspaper reading of Joe Goddard versus one Denver Ed Smith. This fight took place March 3rd, 1893, and definitely one of Joe Goddard's first losses. This is a newspaper reading, and we're going to get started. As soon as the ring was cleared, the main attraction was introduced. Joe Goddard, looking ferocious as a bull, was first to appear. The big Australian smiled as he took the hoodoo corner from which John L. Sullivan had carried a defeated man. A moment later, Denver Ed Smith appeared and laughed as he took his seat. The great disparity in size of the men drew the sympathy of the crowd to Denver Ed Smith. No time was lost. In the sound of the bell, both men arose from their chairs and advanced to the center of the ring. Goddard made objection to the gloves. Several new sets were brought in, and finally a pair was found that suited him. Time was called at 9:30 p.m. and the bout insinuated. First round, Goddard led and Smith immediately clinched him. After the breakaway, Smith jabbed Goddard. The latter led, landing on Smith's neck, drawing blood from the ear. Smith slipped down at this point during the match. The second round, Goddard immediately punched Smith on the damaged ear. There were some sharp exchanges and a clinch. Honors, on the whole, were easy. Third round, Smith's agility helped him greatly as he saved himself many wicked blows by his lively ducking and crouched fighting. Then Smith reached him on the neck and with the left jabbed him hard on the stomach. Smith landed on Joe's neck with his left, and there was a cry of foul, but the referee refused to allow it. Fourth round, Goddard came in with his left. Again, landing heavily on Smith's jaw. After a clinch, Smith jabbed Goddard twice in the face. Goddard tried to crowd Smith, and there was a furious scrimmage at short range. Smith showed signs of tiring. Goddard landed two hard ones on his head, and more ferociously fighting followed. Smith landed heavily on Goddard's jaw and staggered him. Both were blowing hard wind at the end of the fourth round. The fifth round, there was a number of hot exchanges. The pace was beginning to tell on both men, though Goddard seemed a little stronger. The sixth round, Goddard landed straight on Smith's neck and they clinched. Goddard was decidedly the aggressor, as always, and hit Smith twice, staggering him against the ropes. Smith recovered and jabbed Joe wickedly. After another terrific short-range battle, Smith hammered Goddard to the ropes where both fell. Smith had the best of this round of round 6. The seventh round, Goddard came out weak. Smith hit Joe 3 times and with his left knocked him down to his knees. Goddard landed hard on Smith's stomach, but the round closed again in the Denver man's favor. So first knockdown of the fight there, Joe Goddard down in round 7. The 8th round opened by Goddard with a run, landing on his left on Smith's jaw. After a clinch, Goddard floors Smith cleanly, and after a rise, they come together and punish each other severely like vicious fighters in the middle of the ring. So 8th round, Denver Ed Smith goes down. 9th round, Goddard forced Manders and pushed Smith around the ring. Smith showered some signs of weakening. There were several hot exchanges, and the round closed in Goddard's favor. The 10th round, This was full of clinches. Smith landed heavily on Goddard's head and staggered him. The Denver boy got the best of the round. So the 10th round is right around the time when Bat Masterson tries to get Denver Ed Smith motivated by telling him, we've got a lot of money on you. You better win this match or all hell's going to break loose. So let's see how Denver Ed responds. The 11th round, not a great deal was done, and both were weak, and the time was mostly occupied with sparring for wind. The 12th round, considerable caution was exercised on both sides. Smith got in a good one under Joe's heart, and Goddard returned with a good one in the chest. Both men were puffing. Smith landed twice with swinging left on Goddard's eye, and blood started to flow from Joe's eye. The 13th round, after the first rush, Goddard knocked Smith down once again. He rose, and Goddard attempted to force him, but was stopped by Smith's right and left on the stomach of Goddard. After a short-range battle, Joe reaches Smith's neck with his left, and the bell saved the Denver man from being knocked out in the 13th round. So Denver Ed just getting wore down by Joe Goddard. The 14th round, there was some furious infighting, and Goddard forced Smith around the ring. Goddard landed a good one on Smith's jaw, knocking him to his knees once more, but the gong again saved Denver Ed Smith from being counted out. So, 14th round, Denver Ed is looking in serious trouble. 15th round, Smith reached Joe on the neck with his right. After a clinch, Smith jabbed Goddard wickedly with his left. Goddard staggered and fell from the force of his own blow as he attempted a roundhouse swing on Denver Ed Smith. The round ended with light sparring. So at this point, Goddard is going to find himself starting to get a little gassed as we're into the 16th round. The 16th round, Goddard forced Smith to the ropes, jabbing him twice, but both men were weak, and the round as a whole was rather tame. The 17th round, Smith met Joe wickedly, landing on his neck with force. Heavy infighting followed, and the round ended in Denver Ed's favor, shockingly. The 18th round, the Denver man had assumed the aggressor from the start. He caught Goddard on the jaw and then followed a rattling exchange, and Goddard pushed Smith to the ropes after a clinch. Smith knocked Goddard down and rushed him when he arose. He landed a terrific swing on Goddard's jaw, knocking him down like a log. Goddard was unable to rise and was counted out as he laid spread eagle on his face in the center of the ring. Smith was declared the victor among terrific cheers. Time of the fight, 1 hour and 10 minutes. That completed one of the greatest boxing comebacks in ring history, as Denver Smith came from multiple knockdowns to just outlast and eventually overpower his much larger foe in the barrier champion Joe Goddard. And Denver Ed Smith will forever go down as one of the first person to knock out cold Joe Goddard, which is not an easy feat. And he did it with the very youngest version of a Joe Goddard than any of the previous people that accomplished success against him. So with that match, Denver Ed Smith secured his legacy in some of the great ring fighters in history, with one of the greatest comebacks of all time, and made sure Bat Masterson won his bet, and all of his compadres got paid, as they were heavy underdogs. As just prior to this match, Goddard was attempting to try and force John L. Sullivan into the heavyweight championship match, and this was match came as a result of Sullivan stating that he did not have the ability to fight Joe Goddard due to his touring contract with a vaudeville company. So instead, they had Denver Ed Smith take his place, and it produced one of the most legendary matches of the entire decade. Denver Ed Smith's victory over Joe Goddard. Thanks for listening.